In May 2026, the political landscape of Tamil Nadu collapsed. For 60 years, two legacy parties had traded power over 80 million people. Within 24 hours, that duopoly was wiped out by a political party that didn't even exist 26 months prior. The incumbent chief minister, M.K. Stalin, lost his own long-held seat. Dozens of his cabinet ministers fell with him, bringing his deeply entrenched government to a sudden halt. The man who orchestrated this defeat is Joseph Vijay. At 51 years old, he has zero legislative experience. He has never filed a government budget, never passed a bill, and prior to this campaign had never even filled out a nomination form. He is a film actor. A state of 80 million people has just handed its future to a man whose entire public identity was built on a movie screen. Vijay's trajectory started with failure. When he debuted in the early 1990s, critics mocked his looks and his acting. One major magazine asked if audiences should really pay to see his face in theaters. His first string of films bombed, and the industry dismissed him as a director's son who bought his way onto the screen. Instead of quitting, he went silent and began a period of reinvention. He spent years mastering martial arts and refining his screen presence, eventually returning to theaters with hyperkinetic action roles that commanded millions at the box office. This professional resurrection became the foundation of his public myth. He trained his audience to view him as the ultimate disciplined underdog who will outwork his enemies. Around 2012, Vijay's film scripts took a sharp turn. He stopped playing the standard romantic lead and began explicitly taking on the political establishment. His blockbusters became political vehicles. In the movie Kathi, he fought for marginalized farmers. In the movie Sarkar, he attacked corruption and freebie culture. In Mursal, his character targeted the government's tax policies, leading to real-world clashes with politicians. He followed a playbook written decades earlier. In the mid-20th century, the Dravidian movement used cinema to bypass low literacy rates, wrapping political ideology in entertainment. Actors like MGR spent 30 years playing the poor man's savior on screen before stepping into the chief minister's office. The state's voters had already proven their willingness to hand power to film icons, electing Jayalalitha to 6 terms as chief minister. By repeating this savior template for over a decade, Vijay systematically blurred the line between the character on screen and the man in real life. He conditioned voters to see him as a real-life crusader. While he played the hero on screen, he was building a physical network on the ground. In 2009, Vijay launched an organization called Vijay Makal Iyakam. At the time, it was dismissed as a standard celebrity fan club. Look at this map. By 2024, 85,000 subclubs were embedded across Tamil Nadu, running blood drives and free education under the radar. In 2021, these members quietly contested local elections, winning over 100 seats and proving their ground game. Because they operated under the guise of a fan club, Vijay was able to recruit and train an enormous political force in broad daylight, avoiding defensive attacks from the ruling legacy parties. As this machine geared up for 2026, the pristine image of the cinematic savior was tested by a series of high-profile personal crises. In 2021, Vijay took his own parents to court to prevent his father from registering a political party in his name. Then, weeks before the election, his wife of 27 years filed for divorce, citing isolation and a publicized affair. He faced a penalty for hiding 15 crore rupees in income. Even worse, a campaign rally in Karur resulted in a crowd stampede that killed 41 people, triggering a federal investigation. Usually, these scandals would derail a campaign, but the voters of Tamil Nadu marched to the polls and elected him anyway. A 15-year cinematic myth of a savior proved more powerful than the factual reality of the man behind it. When Vijay officially launched his party, TVK, he projected an aura of inevitability. He even drove a car with the license plate CM 2026 long before the campaign began, signaling to his followers that his victory was already decided. Vijay broke from tradition by stripping the word Dravidian from his party's name. While the legacy parties leaned on a 60-year-old regional label, Vijay pivoted to a raw focus on Tamil pride, isolating the old guard. Voters were exhausted by the family dynasty running the DMK and the leadership vacuum in the AIAMDK. When Vijay took his campaign to the streets, The public swarmed his vehicles in numbers the state hadn't seen in decades. Vijay's 108 seats represent final calculation of a strategy 15 years in the making. The campaign is over, and the high-stakes reality of governance begins. The state's new leader has never debated public policy, managed a civil crisis, or negotiated a state budget. Every problem he has ever solved was written in a script. Tamil Nadu has placed its faith in the projection of a savior. Now we're about to find out what happens when the cameras finally stop rolling.